parents want to adopt somebody else's kids.
Okay. How does that work? Don't you?
Well.
You would usually adopt kids who don't have parents, correct? Am I wrong? Am I just dumb? That would be the scenario.
I think you can adopt I
guess if you have a foreign baby, that's not.
I guess so.
I was gonna give an example. My mom told me a story when she was younger that we were raised in the Philippines, and a couple in that they know, like a family friend, really close, they were a little well off, right? So they were trying to say hey, we want to adopt. They wanted to adopt my mom because they wanted her to go to school here. But my mom's parents were like, no, that's our kid. But they were just trying to say hey, we really love your kid, and we want to give them a better shot at life, because life is a little harder over there. So I can see it too, that they're probably trying to give them a better life or a better situation. But it's Reddit, so I think this is going to be one of those evil stories, it seems like.
All right, let's hop into it. No, fuck. Let's jump the fuck in. I can't steal Josh's bid. I refuse to.
When's that shirt?
Steal it.
Let's hop into it.
Let's hop into it.
Janelle.
And it's just the devil's doorbell.
Ooh. Jesus Christ.
With Sean squatting in the WAP video.
No.
Him in a back like this. That'd be great.
No. I do not give my consent.
Shit, that's good.
Okay, here we go. All names have been changed to protect everyone involved in the story. I, 24-year-old female, am a single mom to my son, Owen, 8 years old. It has just been us since day one. His father isn't in the picture and has been able to avoid child support for years now.
Jesus.
Fucking deadbeat.
Yeah, deadbeat. My own parents, in fact, disowned me. I had to drop out of high school, and I have worked a myriad of jobs since then to keep us afloat. We aren't on the poverty line by any means, but we definitely live paycheck to paycheck in a one-bedroom apartment. It's not ideal, and I hope within the next couple of years we'll be someplace bigger, but for now, it is our situation. I've raised Owen to know that money isn't everything. We may not have a lot. He won't always have the newest this or that, but we will always have each other. The two of us are very close. He has never gone without the basics, but I admit he doesn't get a lot of the fun extras. I tried to save a little here and there to make birthdays and holidays fun, but it's still never anything glamorous. And I think Owen was fine with that. Until recently, anyway. In our area, all the public schools are based on a lottery system. So your child has a fair shot of going to any of them so long as you put in their name. Our neighborhood school is not great and in a pretty crappy area, so I decided to put him in a different one across town. It's near my job, so it works out. Last year, when he was in second grade, he met Charlie. They began hanging out a lot after school, with Owen going to his place. I met Charlie's parents, Nate and Paige, a couple of times before this began. They seemed very nice and supportive, and Owen always had a great time at their house. Charlie occasionally came to our apartment, but usually they were at his place, which made sense. I work, and there's really not much for them to do here, even when I am off. Now, summer breaks are easy to find care, as there are several free or low-cost camps that I can put Owen in. It's the shorter breaks, such as Christmas and spring break, that are harder. Camp space is limited. Spring break of 2022, I managed to just miss the registration. Now, Paige is a stay-at-home mom and offered to take care of Owen for the week. I was hesitant to ask so much of her, but she insisted. He had a really fun time with them. They did a lot of activities, and Paige refused my attempts to pay her back at least some of, I couldn't afford all of it, the activities. I admit I did feel a tad uncomfortable with her spending this much money on my son, but at the same time, I didn't want to deprive Owen of this stuff. Summer came, and while I did get Owen into camp, he spent a lot of time with Charlie as well. He ended up going on vacation with them. I was again very hesitant, but the experience was something I could never give Owen, and it wasn't too far away. He had a blast. I kept telling Nate and Paige that there's no way I could ever pay them back, and they kept insisting that they loved having Owen around. They told me what a great kid he is, so sweet and respectful. At one point, I really pressed Paige as to why she was so insistent on having Owen around so much. That's when she told me that they never planned for Charlie to be an only child, but all attempts at giving him a sibling just didn't happen. They know that Owen will never make up for not having a brother, but if they give him a consistent playmate, he won't be so lonely, then they'll do it. Should this have been a red flag? Maybe. But at the time, I found it sweet that the boys considered each other brothers. I thought it was innocent. Surely Paige and Nate knew the truth, right? Right? This continued for a bit, then came Christmas break of 2022. Nate and Paige insisted that I not even bother to try to get Owen into a camp because they'd take care of him for me. I was grateful. They ended up getting him more Christmas gifts than I did.
Ooh.
I tried to set my pride aside because it was about Owen and not about me. This is still when things finally started seeming off to me. I understood a gift on his birthday, and while they didn't get him as many gifts as they got Charlie, it was a lot more than you would typically get your kid's friend. Fast forward to now, spring break was last week, and this time, Paige and Nate didn't just offer to take care of him during the day while I worked. They asked if Owen could spend the entire week at their house. Honestly, it meant I could pick up some shifts and save up for the bike Owen wants for his birthday, so I said yes. I went to pick him up on Saturday afternoon. The kids were playing out back, so Nate and Paige asked to talk to me. They sat me down and said that they love Owen and that he's always such a joy to have. I thanked them profusely for all that they had done for him. Paige then suggested that Owen might stay a little longer. I pointed out that Easter was Sunday, plus school started up on Monday. They said they could take him to school. I felt weird and said, no, it was time for Owen to come home. That's when Nate suggested that Owen stay with them long term.
Oh, that's weird. That's like we're kidnapping your son. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Don't love that.
I could still see him, but they would be the ones to take care of him. I thought they were joking and said, like what? You'd be his guardians or something? They got quiet and then reality rushed over me. I pointed out that this wasn't a movie. They can't just get custody. They started sprouting out some legal stuff about how I could assign them as guardians and they would help make this transition smooth. They told me to think about Owen and think about what's best for him.
Oh, that's so shitty. Like,
shitty.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to go off too early because you're going off, but like with your reading, but yeah, that's just like they're peer pressuring you into releasing your son. That's
it's honestly
crazy.
Manipulation at this point.
Like at least with your mom, John, like they were like, hey, like, would you want this? And then as soon as they said no, they respected that. Like that's
the intent should be communicated right away.
Yeah, exactly. And never has she expressed interest in them taking her son forever. Like that's crossing the line. Holy shit.
I told them that there was no way in hell I was going to give up my son. I grabbed Owen and we left. I've blocked their numbers. Owen has no clue what's going on. I'm keeping him home tomorrow and took the day off of work to figure some stuff out. Legally, they can't take him. But now I know what they want and I am terrified. I don't want him going back to that school. Do we move? I'm so lost. And I feel so stupid because looking back, all the warning signs were there. I know Owen is going to be devastated by losing Charlie, Paige, and Nate. How am I ever going to explain it to him? And then there's a short update. If you guys want to go off now or wait till after the update.
I'll wait.
Okay. I'll wait too then.
You can go if
Josh
you
is
want,
ready.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's just fuck those people. I mean, here's the thing. Adopting should be done more often, I think. Especially in situations where you can't conceive anymore and you want a family. Adoption's completely fine. That's a good way to go. Helps out tons of kids that need homes. But this kid doesn't need a home. He's got a home. He's got a family. And he's been raised very well. You love this kid, who he is as a person. And that's because of his mom. You know what I mean? He doesn't matter that he didn't grow up with money. He's still a decent human and growing up to be one. So, I mean, yeah, you can buy him more presents, take him on more trips, but you can't just buy a kid's love. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
yeah.
And that's why I was going with the rant that like I think these people are manipulative as hell because
Yeah.
they're using the situation that OP is in to weaponize the kid in a way. It's like, hey, if you be with us,
It's
you
the
get to
best for
experience
him
all
or
these
whatever
things. Yeah,
bullshit.
it's the best for your situation. You can you can have all the vacations you want, all the stuff you want, because your mom is unable to provide that, which is completely bullshit. And like what Josh said already, it seems like the mom is doing a phenomenal job considering some of the setbacks she may have or some of the situations that she has. She's still providing, and the kid seems like what Josh said. Kid seems like a decently raised dude. So
Yeah.
this couple is giving me like the ick about it. It just reminds me of that one story we did about like that one ex where like they brought them over to the
Yes.
the house and essentially kidnapped them, say like, oh, this is my kid now type of deal. And it just makes me nervous because it seems like there's an obsession with this kid now, right? Like just trying to provide for their son to have a playmate. And these things tend to be scary. And it seems like they have all the resources in the world to kind of fuck over OP in my opinion.
I agree. I got more, but go off, Sean. Go off.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the update. There's no way I can respond to everyone, so I just want to say thank you for the advice. While I understand those saying they potentially meant well and they weren't trying to be offensive, it's still a risk that I can't take. It's not like they offered to take him every so often. They wanted him full time, permanently. To those who said I should just let them, please pass me whatever drugs you are on. I will never give up my son. Do we have the newest this or that? No. But we have our needs met. I love my son and I am not letting him go. As for everyone else, I took your advice and I reached out to the school. I told them that Paige and Nate are no longer allowed to pick up Owen and explained that I do not feel safe with them around each other. They understood. But there's not much else they can do outside of making sure that Paige and Nate never pick Owen up. It's too late in the year to move classes, but next year, Charlie and Owen will not be in the same class. I notified the police, but again, not much they can do. We have 0 in writing, and a simple request to have my child isn't technically breaking any laws. Unfortunately, all I can do is hope that they don't try anything. I still haven't spoke to Owen. I think it's fine if he talks to Charlie and plays with him at school, but I have to find a way to explain why they can't have play dates or sleepovers anymore, as well as to never go anywhere near Nate and Paige. But I guess that'll come in time. I'll update again if anything happens, but I'm hoping this is the end of it. As some of Nate and Paige's defenders said, they did take my no well. So hopefully they realize how totally out of bounds they were and leave us alone.
Okay. Well, that's a silver lining that they, at least on the surface said okay and agreed with you and are okay with that. But yeah, it's a slippery slope if you start letting him go over there again and sleeping over. So I think you did all the right steps and hopefully you don't have any issues. It is tough because like they are best friends and you always want to hang out with your best friends, but yeah, better to keep them safe than kidnapped. So yeah. And I think the other thing I was going to say before this was, it's one thing to like help out and be a good friend as the parents to be like, oh, like, don't worry about daycare. He can stay here. Like, I don't mind taking care of him. That's one thing. That's super nice. If they just did that, providing him a second home where he feels welcome, super okay. But it's one thing to do that. And then it's another thing to be like, we want your kid. We're going to buy him with presents.
No, completely agree with that. Like, I was expecting more of a grim ending, to be honest.
Same.
But yeah, which is great. Which is great that the outcome is this. And
although
I
Easter was only a few weeks ago, so it could still, there's
maybe.
still that potential.
I would have been a little bit more sympathetic about Paige and what was the husband's name?
Nate.
I would have been more sympathetic with Paige and Nate if off the bat they're saying like, hey, this is our situation, explain to the OP like, can't bear another kid. Really love having your kid around like mine because like they seem like they get along really well. Had the intentions been there off the bat, and every single step of like, hey, communicate with OP, like, hey, do you mind if we pay for this? Do you mind if we pay for that? Give OP the option to say like, hey, this is a little too much. It's kind of overstepping bounds a little bit. I would have had a little more sympathy for them, but they were a little bit more adamant and they were a little bit more imposing in nature. So that's why I was a little scared at first. I'm like, oh my God, seems like a crime of passion waiting to happen. But they were like what Josh said, at least is a happy silver lining. They respected your boundary, and it does suck that your kid's about to kind of lose their best friend essentially. But at the end of the day, you're looking out for their safety. They still have a roof over their head, and hopefully good fortunes come along your way and you can provide the son everything that he wants or you want to get out of life for him.
Yeah. And, part of this story is like, hopefully, it came to a much better end than it could have. But I'm like, I don't know if I would OP obviously has the right idea, but how could Paige and Nate just like so casually bring that up?
Yeah.
Like, it's so strange because essentially I don't know, just from what I hear, it's like, yeah, Owen's cool and everything, but he's kind of just a play. Like, it sounds like, oh yeah, we just need him to play with our kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
true.
is like all sorts of fucked up.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm
That's
like,
true.
wait, that's weird. And I don't know. The buying of the gifts, that's
it's a little
it's
weird. Like my
it's
parents
strange. Just
never bought my friends gifts. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
and vice versa.
It's true.
for Christmas, never.
No.
I didn't even get gifts for Christmas. Shit. If my friend got gifts, I would have fought my friend.
So yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of weird things. Like even like asking to take their kid on vacation, I think is strange. Like me personally, it hasn't even been a whole year that I've known this family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't feel like to take
True.
somebody. I didn't go on a vacation with any friends until like I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I had known them for like almost all of my life. That was the only time I've been on like another family trip. And that's no shade on the mom. She's in not great circumstances. Everything seems fine, but like weird on Nate and Paige to ask to bring. I don't know. That's like if the kids ask, I don't know. Yeah, that's always how it was. Like the kids ask, like, oh, can Chris sleep over? I'll ask my parents. I'll never have like Chris's parents ask my parents, can Sean sleep over? That's weird.
Yeah, a little
That's strange,
bit. Yeah.
right?
I agree with that.
I don't know. That's kind of weird that, that the parent is trying to get it more than their kid is trying to get Owen to hang out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that part is less weird to me than as you said at the beginning of of your point was, it sounds like it's just a play toy for their son.
Like a property to the son.
Yeah.
That's insane to me now that you mention it.
Yeah.
God damn, that's true.
It's like when the new shiny toy is done, it's like, I go back to your mom.
We can get another kid.
Honestly, what they were
We're
going
not
to do.
We're not the full parents. We're just guardians.
We're just guardians. Give them back whenever.
Go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Crazy.
Especially as they get older too. Like,
yeah.
You sometimes you outgrow some people and you're like, oh, I'm kind of sick of this Owen motherfucker. Like, okay, go back to your mom.
Yeah, my kid doesn't really like Owen anymore, so sorry.
Can we get a refund?
We have this new
What's your
kid.
return policy like?
That's insane.
We have this new kid, Sean. Yeah, we brought him over.
Why don't you get your kid a dog or some shit?
Yeah.
Adopt a dog. Give him a pet. Because it sounds like Owen's a pet at this point.
Yeah, honestly. It sounds like when we got a cat for Ringo. Like we were like, we're getting a cat because Ringo's lonely. And yeah,
In
crazy.
therapy.